right, all right. I don't think anybody's here yet, but that's okay because I'm going to talk anyway. It is time for an early morning live, people. An early morning live. And I'm only going to go for 45 minutes today. And I hope that you can hear me. I'm trying to be quiet because, let me see. Am I being too loud? No. My boyfriend is still asleep. So this is predominantly for people who probably live on the other side of the US, maybe. Perhaps people who happen to be up this early because you want to catch Melanie Little. Oh, hello. Good morning, Angela. Angela Goodale or Goodolly? What is it? Goodale? Good morning. Goodale morning to you. Good morning, Lori Lowe. I figured this morning we're going to maybe try to hit a different chunk of viewers. Good morning, Bojangles. Because I shouldn't say usually. I mean, I guess when I record and when I do the lives, I've been doing them late at night. So I thought, let's do an early morning one since I got up super early. I think I got up at like 2 or 3 a.m. because I have some contract jobs that I'm working on that happen to stem from the other side of the earth. So I need to talk to those people in their time zone. Let's just say that. And I want to catch that sweet Karen Reed coverage over at Melanie's channel. So I want to get started soon. There's 6 of us. I'm thinking when we get 10 in the chat, we'll start talking about what I want to talk about. Just get to it. But right now, for the next 3 to 4 minutes, good mornings. Good morning, Nicolette. Are y'all doing okay? Did you have a good day today so far? Or is it your night? I don't know. I'm trying to keep the vocal fry at a minimum, but I'm also trying to talk quietly. Oops, because my boyfriend is still asleep and we have a very small place. So I don't want to wake him or the dog up. I do. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Kim. Finally raining in Florida, first time in months. Congratulations. That has to freaking suck too. By the way, to be right by water and it never rains. It's like those people who get stuck in the ocean, they can't have water. Like, I would crave rain if I were you. I feel like Florida is like Houston, where it's just super muggy and humid and hot all the time. Would you agree? I talk a lot of shit on Florida, but I think it's because I'm jealous because I've never been to Disney. And I always talk shit on Disney too, which I think is because I'm jealous because I've never been to Disney. But yeah, it's good to see you guys. I think I have a lipstick on my teeth. That's fine. Whatever. I'm happy you got rain though. What's going on, guys? I'm addicted to the Melanie Little coverage of, oh yeah, I can show your things now. I am too. I cannot stop watching her coverage. Like, I'm getting up early. I have a sleep disorder. It's called behavioral sleep disorder. I used to sleepwalk a lot. It's actually gone away for a while. But I have a hard time sleeping. I've been a night owl my entire life. So I don't usually get up early. I got up super extra early today to do some work, but my whole day is indoctrinated with Karen Reed trial. Finally, not raining here on Long Island, says Nicolette. Finally, so you guys have been getting tons of rain and Florida's been getting none. And we get random torrential downpours, but lately it's just been balls hot. Like you could fry an egg on the freaking sidewalk. I'm glad it's not raining in Long Island. Actually, we're going to talk a lot about Long Island today in a short period of time. It's usually gorgeous here on the West Coast, but we need this rain. Lori, okay, you're on the West Coast right now? I got that backwards. Wait, I thought you said you were in Florida. Oh, okay. I'm confused, Lori. Are you in 2 places? Okay, maybe you're talking about Florida, but you're in the West Coast. West Coast of Florida. Durr, I'm dumb. That's the oblivious part. I didn't realize there was a West Coast of Florida, I guess. Okay, so it's usually gorgeous over there. Good. Gulf Coast. Okay, I see what you mean. Yes. We have that same Gulf Coast, I believe, over here. It's where we get all of our delicious scrimps. We don't have good beaches like you guys, though. Like, our beaches are really, really crap. They are dead ass shit. Like, there's one beach in Corpus Christi, speaking of the Caleb Harris case, which we're eventually going to talk about. There's one there that we used to just call Jellyfish Beach. And another that's literally called Shell Beach. Like, everybody calls it that because you're just walking on cracked shells and the water's very gray. Hello, let's unpack that. I am up early because I actually got up a couple of hours ago. I work predominantly overnights when I'm doing contracts that happen on the other side of the planet, the earth, whatever. People over there get up at the time that most people over here would go to bed. And because of that, and because of where servers are located sometimes, it's best to just work overnight so I can contact those people. At the same time, this is a very small apartment, and I have a very loud boyfriend and a very loud dog. And so when I'm needing to concentrate or do, like, right now I have another skip tracing contract. It involves a lot of numbers. I'm not the best at math. I always joke and say the math ain't mathin', but honestly, like, I'm not good at mathing either. So I have to have complete silence. It's just how I work best. So, if I'm being super honest, if I'm getting down into my soul, digging it out and handing it and showing it to you, I want to watch Karen Reed coverage, and I don't want to miss it. Originally from New York on Long Beach. Okay. So you're all over the place. You get to be in Florida and New York. There's a lot of Florida to New York transplants, I've noticed. Yeah, Texas beaches are not pretty. They are usually muddy looking legs, and they're covered in jellyfish. And the whole joke in our family, well, I guess in all the families here, is maybe all over the US, if jellyfish, if you touch one, ooh, mosquito today, we're gonna kill you later. Sorry. If you step on a jellyfish, you got to get pissed off. Like, the only thing that makes it stop stinging is piss. And I just thought that like, I'm like, who, if you go to the beach, you're going to get pissed on? I guess we're not going to the beach, you know? Excuse me. Where my sinuses are getting better, but I can't stop coughing. It's just, the mold here is terrible. They are usually muddy looking. I taught English to kids in China. Oh shit, girl, you've been everywhere. I love how everywhere you guys are. I lived down in Westlaco about 12 years ago. Ooh, Westlaco. Where we don't go. I don't remember who sang that song. I think it was the Beaumonts. Nicolette, we're on Long Island Reef. Ooh, the conversations are happening. Afternoon from the GB. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, what does GB mean? Love it, but it looks tinier than the other fonts. This could be me being oblivious for flock's sake. That's the funniest. Yeah, the Karen thing is whack. North Carolina in the house, born and raised in New York. Best move of my life, she says. Going to Florida. Okay. When I was 8, my stepdad convinced me to pee on a jellyfish. We used to joke about, but there was like a chef show where they were talking about, can you eat jellyfish? And one of the friends I was with was like, well, if you do, you have to let someone piss in your mouth. I was like, oh, disgusting. Lori from Brentwood. Oh, Lori, I'm from Brentwood. Sorry. I'm in shout out mode. In Texas right now, it is 6:39 a.m. and we don't have long. So I'm going to hurry up. I'm going to click down and then we're going to talk about this stuff. Matagorda is my favorite place at all. Mine too, because without Matagorda, we wouldn't have Kelly Sigler. And we love Kelly Sigler. Or Siegler. 6:30 a.m. for you too. Brentwood was your rival. And high school football rivals, they go till death. They really do. I know 50-year-olds still talking about old high school rivals. Remember, was it Al Bundy back in Polk High School? The Bundys. I used to think that show was called The Bundys. I would always forget it was Married with Children. Salutations coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, aka Murderbore. Let me tell you something, love versus money. And for those of you who don't know this is a fun fact. I thought a lot of people knew this, but I always pull it out of my ass when we're talking about The Wire. Like anybody, if I ever meet anyone in public who talks about The Wire or happens to like true crime, I bring this up because it was an amazing thing I read. I read this really long It was like 30 freaking pages. I have to say, two of the best things I ever read in a magazine. We're derailing already. One of them is an old Playboy article about Tom Arnold's sister. If you don't know about the comedian Tom Arnold's sister, she is who Walt White was based on in the show Breaking Bad. Like, if there was a Walt White, everything that he actually did, Tom Arnold's sister did. She brought meth to America via bikers. And Playboy did this insane piece on her. It was wild. She spent a lot of time in prison. She used to fly on jets with Roseanne and Tom, and I don't think Roseanne liked her very much, if I remember correctly. But aside from that, the other most incredible article I ever read was on The Wire, because the creators of The Wire were two of the people that were technically in The Wire that the show was based on. One of them was a lead detective, and the other one was a newspaper writer, and they got together and they created The Wire, right? So everybody in the show The Wire that they use for extras inside or a bulk of the actors they use for extras inside of the newsroom are the actual detectives who worked on the show The Wire, and the actual detectives who worked on the stuff going on in the show The Wire, the actual events. So the real detectives who busted the real characters and put them in jail, like in real life, because it's all based on a true story. Those detectives became extras and they played the guys in the newsroom. The criminals that The Wire is all about are real. Marlo Stanfield is based on a real person. All of them who survived and got out of prison played characters in The Wire who were good or considered upstanding characters. The guy in the wheelchair that plays I think he's he's a politician or some guy that he used to be a boxer in the show, but he's a guy who's in a wheelchair and he's like a guy who gets to pick out stuff for the city or something. That is the real life Omar. And the reason he's in the wheelchair is because he really jumped out of a building. So that's like the first series to do that. And I think it's amazing. And they also, Bubbles, that whole situation with someone writing a fake article about a guy who was based on Bubbles was actually an homage to the Janet Cook article. Blows my mind. The Wire and the history of Baltimore politics and just everything involving Maryland in general with true crime is mind-blowing. There's historically been so much corruption there. Anyway, I love that they call it Bloody Moor Murderland in the show, which is why I thought of that. But if there's just so much about that show that's insane, that blows my mind. Okay. Yes, Jenny, I was thinking of my Irish peeps because I noticed in the comments on the last one, which I wish I could figure out. My next goal is to figure out how to preserve the live comments so that we can go back and see those later. It's not letting me save them. But in the last one, a whole bunch of people from Ireland, and by that I mean like 10 or 12, were like, oh, I missed you because it's this time here. And I was like, well, let's do this for the Irish lassies. Okay. Thoughts on Chad Daybell? Chad Daybell, what a fucking freak, right? What a dork, too. I'll tell you what that guy got. And growing up. And he luckily somehow convinced a wonderful, fantastic librarian with a heart of gold to marry him. And he managed to just throw it all away so he could put an Amazon ring on a harlot. And I think that is egregious and outrageous. I cannot believe, first of all, his books are like this thin. He has the thinnest books. And second of all, I just don't, he sounds like someone I couldn't, I would just blank out. My eyes would glaze over when he talks. I was able to preserve some of him and Lori's old podcasts, which maybe I was trying to figure out. Everybody's like, what are you going to do for members? And I'm like, oh shoot, do I have to start thinking of again, Atlas will shrug one day, people. The responsibilities are piling up. I'm like, well, what do I give new members? So I was thinking maybe having some comedians come on. Some of them you might recognize. Getting them to tell us true crime stories. Because I am in Austin. And there's a lot of them here. And some of them are controversial. But I will see if I can get any on to maybe talk to you guys. Because some of them have told me some wild stories. But I was also thinking, like, maybe we can listen to some of that stuff that's been taken down by Chad and Lori. Some of the stuff that the baddies don't want us to hear. Because fuck them, right? So, yeah, I think Chad's a chud. I don't like him. I have a lot of thoughts on... Well, really, I'm just happy that he got the death penalty, right? Or he's going to get it. I'm just glad he's away. Good morning from Kansas. Kelly does kick ass. Morning from Mass. My granddad used to tell me that Aer Lingus planes used to land sideways in bad weather. Do you remember that thing where they're like, go get the blinker fluid? That was a fun prank. I just thought of that. I lived very close to where Rex dumped all those poor ladies. Horrible. Right over the bridge. It started in the early 90s. Oh, I agree. Let's start with that said. I'll come back and try to talk about all of these. Yeah, he got her the Amazon wedding ring. It was cheap as fuck. Oh, I shouldn't say cheap as... Actually, is it you, Gen X Granny? Good morning. I believe you challenged me to be curse-free. I'm going to try for you. But if it is you, I think it's you. Was it you? One of you challenged me, I think, and told me your favorite curse word. I made you tell me your favorite curse word in exchange for me trying to be curse-free. And you said it was the one your grandma used to say growing up, and I believe it was shitty titties. So I'm allowed to say that today anytime. Is it you? I feel like it's you. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to be good. Let's go ahead and start talking about this because we need to wrap up within 30 minutes. And we're not going to get through all of the things I want to talk to you about today at all. So there's going to be parts. We're just going to keep going with the flow. And I'm going to make more organized presentations for you in the pre-recorded stuff. But I just wanted to purge this from my soul right now because I didn't get to finish talking about it the other night. And I wanted to give you guys some tips. Yeah, shitty titties, use it all day now. Everybody. And if it's not you, Gen X Granny, okay, it's not you. It was somebody else who told me that they were a granny. And they didn't tell me not to curse. They were just like, well, I'm not a fan of cursing, but, they were kind of like, you do you, girl. And I was like, listen, I want to test myself now and see if I challenged myself to her. And then I asked her what her favorite curse word was. So I could say that. She said shitty titties. So this one's for you, ma'am, wherever you are. Yeah, I know it is my MO. This is great. Yeah. It's my whole thing is never getting to the freaking point, right? But today we actually are. Because you asked me some questions. I do know YT won't give you the same advertising. Well, I don't need advertising though. Right? Who needs advertising? Fuck it. Fuck ads. If they give me a Blue Chew ad, I'm going to take a Blue Chew. We'll see what that's about. I'm all about like if somebody tries to get me to promote, we're actually going to test the product, whatever it is. And if it's bad, I'm going to tell you. And then they're probably going to fire me, but I can't. Like, if we get a deal with Aura, we're going to try Aura. And if my identity gets hacked, I'm going to tell you about it. But for now, I'm not selling out. The ad revenue has a limit for cursey words. Well, shitty titties, does that give me... What if the product is called shitty titties? Do you think that's okay? Also, do they do ads for like dirty bad stuff or stuff with curse words? I'm going to test the loopholes here. I'm going to create a company just to put ads out and see. Yeah, who needs a partnership? I'm an independent contractor of information. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to come on here, and really if we never get to Rex this morning, we'll get to it this afternoon, but I wanted to come on here and tell you guys this because I got a lot of questions. In the first 2 minutes, I think I did okay. I got a lot of questions about basically like on the kid safety one. A lot of people were saying like, I have teens and I'm very concerned. I'm not going to give too many details. Let's just say this. I was pretty surprised at the amount of people who emailed me or asked me in general in comments about situations involving revenge porn. Now take the C and put in a P. Fuck it. We're just going to say it. Revenge porn. Apparently the boys are not all right in this generation, and they are doing dubious things, and they are sharing things with their friends, which is what a lot of boys do and have done. Men can be gross sometimes, and they can be dirty little pervs when they're kids. And it used to be the thing, like, at least when I was growing up, like if you wanted to take a picture of yourself in the nude or your hoo-ha, you had to take it and then you had to go get it developed, right? So there was less incentive and there was less of a likelihood that our teens would go through all of that or that we would go through all of that. And now people are just like, click. When I worked at a coffee shop once and I walked into the bathroom on a woman who just had her leg up like she was taking a piss outside, and she had her camera down there and she just looked up at me and was like, what's up? And like posed with her tongue out, like Miley, while taking a picture of her hoo-ha in a public bathroom at a coffee shop, like with multiple stalls. And girls came out just laughing. And I'm like, okay, look, we can't stop them from being dumb asses or dudders. But like, if somebody's sharing that stuff, you know, it still doesn't deserve to be disseminated. It's our kids are not only sharing it with each other, but then other kids are sharing it with the school. Let's just say that. And it's really both genders. They're all doing it. And the amount of y'all who are like, revenge porn, what do I do? My kid is in this situation. I'm worried my kid sent something to someone. And I called the cops and they wouldn't help. So yeah, exactly. True. I don't like, I'm like, I yell at my boyfriend. I'm like, tell me if you're going to take a picture of me. You know what I mean? I don't even like, I could have a bag on my head and I'm still like, nah, I don't want this picture. Like our body is a sanctuary, but like some of us, you know, we've all done it at a time or two. We've treated our body like a trap house here and there in our teens or 20s. We've acted like dummies. And if anything, we need to turn it back into a trap home. We need to make this place livable, so to speak. And there's just a lot of kids out there that don't realize how bad this is. And you have made me aware of that. I did not know that. I don't have kids. So I got you some resources. I'm going to share the screen. And I think I'm going to post them below later. We're definitely going to have to bail in 20 minutes because I have to go watch Karen Reed coverage, but I will be back for you later. Do not worry, but I want to show you this first. So peep this, my sweets. Here we go. How do I present? Oh, yes, like this. Okay, let's share the screen. Okay. I hope you can see it. No, I don't want to be that big. Let's just make the whole thing. There we go. So this is the cyber helpline. It's supposed to be for supporting victims of cybercrime, but it's not just that. It includes all sorts of, no, you cannot have my cookies. And see, I got an AI already trying to talk to me here. And they're saying, you know, okay, then they want me. Okay, fine. Oh, gosh. Cyber tip line trying to get all my data. Okay, so over here, you can come here and it's going to talk to you about all the different kinds of abuse, and it's going to give you other resources depending on your situation. It's going to give you contact information for, you know, who to call. It literally tells you what to do in order. Like, for example, keep a copy of all the evidence, report it to police, obviously. But if you haven't, that doesn't work. It's going to tell you things like don't engage with the suspect, contact the website used to share the content. It's going to give you a porn helpline, how to get that taken down. Simultaneously, there's just so much more here. And it also gives you specific places to go for different places in the US and abroad if your child is exploited, and that includes NCMEC. So this is a really, really good resource that I'm going to post below. And like I said, because I'm not a parent, I'm not in the market to give you, advice, but I can give you resources I think that could help. And I think that this is a really good one. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you one more real quick. And that is the Federal Trade Commission one. There it is. So check this out. This is the Federal Trade Commission. This is going to give you the more legal approach, and it's going to include all of your civil rights as far as what's available online. And it's going to give you a crisis hotline that's going to connect you with where you need to be connected locally, but it's above the police. So it's going to give you some information on a federal level that is within the jurisdiction usually of your home state. So I think this is a really good resource. And I think that that's something that I know I'm going to post it below, but I think that that's something that I just wanted to show you guys because so many of you were asking about it. And I was like, how do I put this out quickly? So I was like, well, we'll put this out and then I'm going to give them a few more OSINT links and then we'll talk a little about Rex and then we'll hop on over to Melanie. So with that said, before I get right back to chat, I do want to show you some more OSINT stuff that I pulled for you. One of them is a vendor checks website. Let's go ahead and present. Okay. Can I just do a window maybe? That would be so much easier. There we go. Okay, perfect. Let's just share this window. Nice. That's so much better. Okay, give me 1 second, you guys. All right. So back to this page. So what this is Checkbook NYC. And this is going to essentially be a place where you can go to see where the money's going, right? So one of the things that I was doing with Rex's company as I was running Heuermann, the architecture firm, the full name of it, through all of these, not just for New York, but some for outside of New York in case he subcontracted anywhere. I don't know if he could, but I was really just kind of interested in seeing if he was ever hired for any contract labor that was paid for by by your state or city government, what, when, where. I noticed there was concrete pourings listed in his little black book. So I thought, hey, maybe this would be a good place to start. Simultaneously, I want to show you. I'll tell you about, let me pull a few of these up so you can just see them all at once. And then we're going to hop out of here. Okay. Here we go. So sorry this takes so long. Here we go. Okay, so this is called See Through NY, and I shared with you guys a police transparency resource in regards to Boston for the Karen Reed case, and I'll put that below too. And it was so that you can kind of get an idea of how much everybody's getting paid in that case, i.e. the McCabe's, the Alberts, anybody who works as a police officer or proctor versus the pay of O'Keefe, who was also in there. And I think it's just my opinion that given the amount of experience that all of the officers had, it's very interesting, the pay disparity between O'Keefe and the others. And it's very interesting to see all of the contract jobs that they took on, which they're allowed to as cops. But you'll notice that people like the McCabe's, the Alberts, Proctor, all the people on the side that everyone's against, the baddies, the ones that are being nefarious, Higgins, all of them. If you just look at all of the side jobs that they do, they tend to be at really fun, cool places. Like they tend to be at places like sporting events, things like that, fun places that would be fun to go. Like if you didn't have tickets, hey, I'll just work that and I'll make money and get to see the game type of stuff. Simultaneously, O'Keefe was doing like construction sites and places that were not in the best neighborhoods. And it just seemed like he was getting paid a whole lot less. And I don't know why I thought it mattered, but it just seems kind of odd to me. I can see people maybe going, well, what does that have anything to do with the case? I'm just thinking of like the dynamic between this dude and his coworkers. You know what I mean? So anyway, I found one for New York, and you can come in here and you can see everything from pensions to payroll, contracts, expenditures, and it's not just cops either. It includes teachers, superintendents, police, fire, public authority figures. And then that's where you can get all the different labor contracts. You can see where the budget's going. So it's a pretty cool resource in that, especially if you're looking for Burke stuff. If you want to see how much James Burke made while he was in prison, $145,000, you can see it here. And that does not include other things he might have been paid for. Like there was a huge scandal, basically, where a lot of cops in the area were mooching off disability. So there's just a lot going on there. And if you want to see prime vendor contracts by active expense, oh, good morning. You can see it all here. You can see, pardon the door creak. You can see spending, revenue, budget. This is on Checkbook NYC. And then over here, you have See Through NY. And this is for the cops. So this is very specific. Then over here, you have on See Through NY all of the different, see the list, and you can whittle it down. You can look at pension benefits. You can check by last employer, by name. Yes, Gen X Granny. He made a lot of money in prison. In fact, Duty Ron talks about that in some of his older lives when Burke gets arrested. He goes very in depth, and I highly recommend going back and checking that out. Yes, he was hired by Trump. Oddly, Paul Manafort's family also had a cement company, and I talked to his nephew once for another podcast that I did a long time ago. And, that company had weird contracts with like the mafia. And I believe I saw Heuermann in there at one point. Any docs on Berkey? There are documents on Berkey. Let's see. I mean, fuck him, right? So he also just goes by James Burke, but there you go. Pension benefit. 2015 to 2023. And you can look by their retirement year. Simultaneously, you can narrow it down their last employer. If we just look up James Burke, though, that's where we get the full one. Because see how it says Suffolk here? So when you come down here and you do Suffolk, there we go. See how we've got these two? Well, earlier it gave me way more. Oh, that's because it's just doing 2023. There you go. See, every single year there's 2015. There's 2023, 2017, 2018. Oh, that's James J right there. So these are all R James, and then the James without a C, which we're not going to go through all of them. I went through them already, but he's collected a ton. Ozzy, I've not seen that yet. I need to catch up on that. I absolutely need to catch up on that. Omhart, greetings. Greetings from Austin as well. Nice to see you. It's so hot here. What do we do? What do we do? Yes, he made that much. Good morning. Yes, Karen Reed's about to start in 10 minutes, so we're going to get out of here. I really wanted to just show you guys these OSINT tools, and we'll go more in depth on Rex later. I just had to pop in and show you this stuff. I think it's cool. Also, there's another Long Island forum, by the way. If you go to citydata.com, I'll include all this /forum/Long Island. You can go to last, and it goes all the way back to 2006. Isn't that fun? It's another fun resource I wanted to show you. So you can see all the gossip locally if you want to see the tea. But yeah, that was something I really, really want to show you. This kind of freaked me out. Ooh. I literally almost caught myself when I saw this, but this is an old post, and I thought that it was from 96. And I was like, wait, what? And then it's someone saying, Peaches, I'm moving to Long Island, yada, yada, yada. They sign it Georgia Peach. I'm like, what, dude? This is really old, right? And then I saw the date, and it was 2006. And I went, I couldn't believe it. At first, I was freaking out. I was like, we may have something here. But yeah, this is all of the stuff I pretty much wanted to show you as far as OSINT stuff goes. So how do we... Oh my gosh, I thought my mouse was on the other screen. There we go. We're going to wrap up here pretty quickly. I also... Let's go ahead and read the rest. I had to dive on some Long Island. Yep. You went into Snaggle Mama went into some of those Long Island forums. Had to scrub her eyes after. Yep. And if you want to see the ones with the whole situation with Amber Costello, I'm pretty sure they put them in Web Sleuth a long time ago. I put them in Web Sleuth. I put some, pretty sure. So I how the hell can I? I know, dude. How? There's so many going on right now. And then, there's a couple local to me that I've been following that are very odd. And there are, there's just a lot going on in the news in general. There's a girl on TikTok or whatever, or Twitch, who pushed a homeless woman into the river, not knowing she couldn't swim. The infamous everybody dies in it river here in Austin, which is mainly people getting drunk, falling in, and being found later. And then a whole bunch of them who are unaliving themselves. And then a whole bunch of them that got drunk, went to take a pee, fell in. And almost all of them are drowning. I've ordered a lot of ME reports. We're definitely going to go through that. There's maybe 4 suspicious ones over 30 years. There's one there where everybody swears that this guy was tightly duct taped around the head. And, his hands were bound, his legs were bound. How could this be? But they literally have video camera footage of him doing that to himself. His house had just been raided by the FBI. He also, the duct tape was kind of loose. So yeah, it's a lot. And yeah, I've looked into every single one, Tommy. It's crazy. Like, to me, what's crazy isn't why everybody else thinks it's crazy. Everyone else thinks it's crazy because everyone's like, oh, there's a serial killer. No, absolutely not. The problem is the infrastructure, believe it or not. It's literally a steep cliff, like on the banks, right by a huge bar scene. And the only places to park down there require you going over this bridge. And in order to avoid some of the homeless communities that tend to be a little more active at night, and the areas where there's a lot of gangs, a lot of people, I've never heard anybody talk about the gang. Like, I was beaten and stabbed by a gang. Like, there are gangs in Austin, a ton of them, and they also inhabit that area. So in order to get to where a lot of people park, you have to go along the water. A bulk amount of these dudes are found typically with some things that have made people go, maybe they were SA'd. No, they were trying to take a piss. And there's no lights. There's no railing. It looks like it's going to go into deep woods. And then you take 2 steps and boom, it's just sharp cliff right onto rocks and then in the water. A lot of them left suicide notes. Some of them were trying to show off and fell. And one of those guys who was up there went to take a pee and then was joking about jumping off, and he fell over. and he hit his head, and he was found a few days later. He was in a coma. He woke up, and he was considered a missing person, and he ended up not being missing. He woke up and was found, but they never reported that. So he still gets mentioned. And what's crazy is that, and a week later, that guy was the guest on the same podcast. It's a comedy one. And he was talking about how he went to a Tom Segura concert, got hammered, had to pee, fell off the bridge, hit his head, woke up from a 3-month or 3-week coma. It was crazy to find out that he's considered one of the missing or one of the murdered people from the serial killer. There's also been a whole bunch of other people who go missing, and then they're found like right away, and they're still on all these lists and on all the YouTubers that make the horrifying bit. Like, I was shocked to see Law and Crime was misreporting a whole bunch of stuff, especially Duct Tape Guy. They're like, oh, he was a nice teacher. It's like, yeah, but he was also funding some potential terroristic organizations in another foreign country, and the FBI just raided his house, and there's video evidence of him jumping into the water, but whatever, and doing it alone. So yeah, like, there's a lot that gets left out. It's just really crazy to me. Yeah, she has not been held accountable, and what's crazy is, like, a lot of people don't realize that down there, that's an area where also, like, the embankments and stuff, that's where a lot of homeless people hang out. And some of them, they have addictions and stuff. And this isn't the 90s. Bum fights are not funny anymore. Like, Bum Fight Crew is over. It's not cool to make people drink piss or to offer them money to do something disgusting and degrading. And to see some girl profit off of that for clout, and she would have let that woman drown. I don't know if she did or not. I keep trying to find accurate updates, but it seems like, I don't know. I'm going to go look into that today because it's been pissing me off. That's one of the that's one of the reasons I was talking about it earlier, is because I was just looking it up, and it's like really hard to find out what's going on with that. But anyways, shoot, we got to get over to Mel's in 3 minutes. So I'm going to have to go more into, we're going to talk more about Rex later. But I do absolutely love talking to you guys. I want to read a few more of your comments before we go. They're going to keep finding more bodies. He has a Bible of rules. I don't think he's going to be the worst in history. I'll be honest about that. Samuel Little has over 90. Bundy has over, I think, technically over 40, 41, 45 that they suspect strongly. You've got Green River Killer is in the 40s, I believe. Now, we're not talking about charge, but suspected of with, I've gone through a bunch of them. Like, I'm telling you, there's a guy with 200 named Carlos. There's a guy named Pedro with 90. We've got a lot of horrific serial killers that have an insane amount of people that they've killed. Again, Samuel Little is, that's nuts. But with the next one, we are going to talk about the ones that he has the most in common with. From everything from victim profile to not. That was another thing I wanted to say, is that I wanted to correct something. I said Bittaker and Lee, but I was thinking of Bittaker and Norris in the last one. And I often get them confused with two different killers with the last name Lee. One of them is a guy in Canada, a Greyhound busting. It's nothing to do with that. But Bittaker and Norris, those two sick fucks, David Parker Ray, Kenneth Bianchi to an extent. There's a whole list of them that I made for you that have way more in common with Rex than who I originally thought. But Leonard Lake, Charles Ing, however you say that, Richard Hansen, Bianchi and his cousin, Robert Ben Rhodes, Bittaker Norris, the West Mesa trailer guy that they busted. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of the others. Picton. He was like a clean Picton with a wife. There's just so many of them. And then you have to include the bulk New York ones. And remember, I said there's going to be a lot overlapping. But Oh shoot, we gotta go. It's time for Melanie. All right, guys. Bye. This is a real Irish goodbye, by the way. And speaking of Karen Reed, this is an Irish goodbye. Good night. I'll talk to you guys later. I should say good morning. I'm not used to being up this early. Bye.